Today we're doing something that I've never done before. Go to Kansas. I have been to nearly every state in the US. This is my 47th state, and this year alone, 44th. After this state, I only have to go to New Mexico, Alaska, and Hawaii. I've had a few weeks at home, and now I'm taking my road trip back west since I'm crossing the entire state of Kansas today. We're gonna celebrate and see what we can find. To be honest, I've done some research, and Kansas is home to the world's largest ball of twine. There's a town that is the geographical center of the lower 48 states. We probably aren't going to those things. Both of them are pretty far north in the state, and I'm headed to Great Sand Dunes. So we have the important task of finding things equally interesting as those two. Now we're starting off big at Joe's City Bbq. Kansas City is famous for barbecue, but most of Kansas City is in Missouri. Lucky for us, Joe's City Bbq is here in Kansas, and that is where we're starting our day. Okay, I went with the pulled pork sandwich and the ribs. You can get a rib sandwich, which is just 3 bones. Pulled pork sandwich, which is $7.79. The rib sandwich is $10.49. And then I got coleslaw and a drink. It's so good. The pulled pork is smoky and juicy. The bun is really soft, which is good, and I just went with regular original barbecue sauce. It's really salty. Very well seasoned, extremely salty. They're tender without being like greasy. I'm not an expert, but I can pretend. We have a really pretty smoke ring. It's good. It's easy to say that this is a novelty because it's in a gas station, but the barbecue is so good. Just perfect and exactly what you want when you're visiting Kansas City. It's a Wednesday. I got here about 11:30, and it was just the perfect time. It's kind of overcast, and it's just, you know, middle of September, so it was a great time to stop. If you're in Kansas City, highly recommend it, but there's a lot of choices when you're here, so feel free to explore the city and try anywhere that you're at. And yes, it is still an active gas station. You can pull up and get gas while you're here. The price is competitive. I need to go get a box before we head out. Stop number 1 in Kansas is done. Obviously, lunch was first priority. Now we're headed to a National Historical Site in Topeka that I had no idea was here, so we have to check it out. I've made it to the Brown versus Board of Education Historical Site. I didn't realize this was in Kansas. When I think of integrating schools, I think of Mississippi and Little Rock, Arkansas, and Alabama. Once I saw it was in Topeka, I knew I had to stop and check it out. This is one of 4 schools in Topeka that Black students were able to attend prior to integration. It's crazy because some of the feelings are so familiar, like the squeak of the floor. It takes me back to my elementary school. Certainly worth a stop if you're near Topeka. I think one of the most amazing things is that it's not that long ago. I just asked and they said they usually get up to 50,000 visitors a year. This year it's been really low. I think the interactive exhibits were some of the best that I've seen on my journey to the national parks, especially this section where they had a screen and sounds coming from both sides. It really makes you feel like you're there. Okay, now we really do have to drive across Kansas. Nothing like a good place to stay and a warm cup of coffee in the morning. It's like a one-stop stop. The view though. I was completely convinced that we would make it across Kansas in one day, but as the sun set last night at like 7:30, I realized that it's not summer anymore. So I spent the night here at this truck stop. I filled up with gas last night at like $2.89. It's up to $3.04 today. I almost always fill up the night before when I stop at a truck stop because it goes up in the morning often. In the middle of Kansas, this was a really good spot. But we have more to do before we make it to Colorado, so day 2 of driving through Kansas. Can't go after I go, but you can go now if you want. Okay, I'm gonna go. In the middle of Kansas, there's this section of Badlands, and this is called Monument Rock. It is our first stop here this morning. You can kind of see the Badlands start to come out through the farmland. I knew this was coming, and I'm so excited to finally be here. I do feel like it's a rite of passage as a van lifer, just so you can see your van next to these rocks. Definitely echoey. How cool is that? Okay, need to change shoes. There is another section of these monument rocks over that way. I'm gonna go see about that, and then it's on to the next stop. This little state park here in Kansas does have a $5 daily vehicle fee. We are paying it because we are headed down to hike. Can't really go anywhere. It's just a viewpoint, so hopefully the other trail gives us a little more. We've reached the first turnout. There are really cool signs along the way that talk about the different grasses and birds that you'll see while you're out here. Wow, pretty. This sign recommends that you stop, take a deep breath, and just enjoy the view. It mentions the wind is almost always blowing, which is true. We're on the prairie of Kansas. I read a comment that someone was pretty adamant that the Badlands were only half the beauty, that you really need to take a look at the grasses while you're here, and I can see why, because they're just really pretty. This like red color grass is buffalo grass. It's all beautiful. Did you know that the world record for the longest prairie rattlesnake was found right here in this county? Logan County, Kansas. It was 5 feet long. Oh goodness. The sign did mention that you should look for a snake that's 35 to 45 inches long or bigger. That's too big. I almost stopped after that first lookout because it just wasn't very exciting. It didn't feel like they were letting you hike like in the Badlands. This far lookout is definitely the way to go. This is cool. I do feel like I've been transported to Badlands National Park. It's just so quiet and peaceful out here. I can see why everyone said that it's a must stop here in Kansas, but I didn't put sunscreen on like a crazy person, so I can't stay all day. Either way, this is our last stop here in Kansas. Hopefully you enjoyed our road trip across the state and exploring it for the first time with me. I am off to Colorado, where I have 3 national parks left to explore this year: Great Sand Dunes, Mesa Verde, and Black Canyon of the Gunnison. If you don't want to miss it, make sure that you subscribe. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed crisscrossing across Kansas. I'll see you in Colorado. Look how big he is. I think that's the biggest beetle I've ever seen. How cool. Whew, sit up too fast.